Hi guys, and welcome to episode 14 of the Milk Round, Castlemilk Youth Complex's very own podcast that we bring out to you every week on a Thursday. We bring it out on our YouTube channel that you're probably on just now. So if you can subscribe to that, like our videos, and ring the bell for notifications. You'll notice that we've got, regular viewers will notice that we've got Chris back. So, hi Chris, how you doing?
Not too badly. Glad to be back and all that
Yeah,
sort of
glad to
stuff.
have you too. Glad
Yeah,
to have you. So, because Chris is back, it means Kirsty's not here this week, but we just want to say a big thank you to Kirsty for filling in and being a co-host. It's been brilliant. So, big up Kirsty. So, as I says, we're on a YouTube channel. So, like our video, like all our other videos as well, please share them as far as you can, because last week we got our highest viewing for a podcast, which was over 250 views, and I kind of said at the start, if we can get over 200 views, I'd be buzzing with it. So I think we should maybe set another target. What do you think, Chris?
I would be delighted with anything reaching that, to be
Aye.
honest.
Will
Yeah.
we go for 230? Will we go for?
Yep. Yeah. Why
Aye.
not?
Right. That's the target, guys. Hopefully we can get to that. So yeah, that's just our YouTube views. But if you need us on any other social medias, we've got Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and Chris is going to run through them for us just now.
Facebook, Kelly Youth Complex Staff. Twitter, Youth Complex CYC. Instagram, Youth_Complex. TikTok, Kelly Youth Complex. Our email is cycyouth@gmail.com, and you can check out some early episodes, audio-only episodes, on themilkround.podbean.com.
Thank you very much.
You're
Actually
welcome.
got your role back in that because I wasn't very good at it. I was like struggling. Kirsty was slagging me because I didn't even remember them anymore.
I
She
don't
was like,
remember that. I still read them. It's fine.
aye. How do you not remember this shit? I was like, it's not my role. It's usually Chrissy's, so give me a break. But that's brilliant. So if you need to get us on any social medias, if you want to give us an idea for a future podcast topic, then just hit us up on any of them. So we've said thanks to Kirsty, and as another big thanks we've got to say for last week's podcast, and that's to Angela from Fair. Angela came on, told us what happens in the East End through youth work and what was going on through lockdown and what Fair do in the East End, and it was just a great insight into what's going on over that side of the city. So big thank you to Angela. And she was a great singer. I don't know if you watched the podcast, Chris,
I
but
did actually watch the podcast, and she was quite a character and quite a singer, and
yeah,
a very respectable performance in the quiz as well. I noticed,
aye,
I thought Kirsty could at least try and fly the flag in
yeah,
the absence of the real champion,
champion, yeah,
the real champion, the real world's champion right here. But unfortunately, she failed. But up against some very good competition, Angela able to break into song, and I think that was
yeah,
the key to that quiz as well. Was actually to try and get, if you could get the song and start singing it in your head, you'd
aye,
eventually reach the chorus or something like that. And I'll be honest, it would have came down to probably a tie break between me and Angela for that,
really,
because I was actually scoring it along.
right,
So
okay,
that would have been, I would have been a toughie, because some of the music was maybe
know
not
your
of my
type,
persuasion in some
yeah,
ways, but a lot of the kind of old school stuff, I was like right on it,
right,
I was right
aye,
on the Bruno Mars as well. I had that Bruno Mars one right away, and they were both really
aye, struggle.
struggling. They really struggled with that one. I was quite
Um,
surprised.
the one that shocked me the most was Journey, Don't Stop Believing. I don't know how Kirsty didn't get that one.
Yeah, that was a gift. That was
Aye,
definitely a gift.
that was like a point on the board before I even started the second line that I
I
said.
thought so, I know. And to be fair, she was getting plenty of help from Angela as well. But
Aye,
not.
exactly. But we do have the real champion back, and we'll test you later with a quiz that's linked to our topic. So I don't
We'll
know.
see.
It's quite difficult. I'm going to put that right at the start of the
It'll be
podcast.
difficult, right?
Aye, but you're yourself, so you're not up against anybody. So it doesn't
Mm-hmm.
really matter about the score because you're still champion, Chris.
Mm-hmm. We'll need to get, I mean, I'm going to need to defend this championship at some point, though, because
Aye,
so we're going to have to pull some of these whippersnapper contenders that think they're ready to take on the
yep.
champ. So we'll
Come
see.
and have a go. I
But
think you're
this will
happy.
be another exhibition tonight. Hopefully,
Aye,
I won't embarrass myself in any shape or
aye.
form. We'll see.
They're just showing off in this episode, and then when somebody comes on, you go in for the kill.
That's it's, as I say, I liken it. I always liken things back to wrestling. It's when the guy comes in with the fireworks and the pyrotechnics and all the lasers, and there's already another guy waiting for him in the ring, and you kind of know what's going to happen next, don't you? So that's kind of what I liken these bits to. So we'll see.
So that's the next stage. We're getting your fireworks in your room for every Thursday.
Absolutely. Other pyrotechnics indoors are available. But, yeah.
So that was last week, and just a big thank you again to Kirsty and Angela. But this week, we've got quite a lot to get through. And first things first, that we usually do is a nice news story. So, Chris, I found a lovely, nice news story today. It's from the 21st of August. So last week, we are recording this on the Thursday, which we've not done in a wee while. So it's probably the most up-to-date we've been recording for quite a while. But this happened on the 21st down in North Yorkshire. And the headline is, Boy 11 jumps in to save toddler. And it's a sea rescue. An 11-year-old boy has been hailed a hero after jumping into the sea to save a toddler. The toddler, got out of sight of his parents, fell into the sea and was clinging onto a fishing net. And the boy who's 11, their family spotted it. And before the adults even got near the pier, the young 11-year-old boy was in the water, swimming back with the toddler. It's amazing. You would expect an adult to be on point with something like that, but for an 11-year-old boy to jump in and risk his own life, basically, to do that for another kid is just amazing. So his name is Eli Harrison. So big up Eli, if he's watching. I think he will be.
Absolutely, of course.
So the parents of the other kid gave him a tenner and an ice cream. So that was quite nice as well. And the toddler's fully recovered as well from everything. But the boy lives near the sea, and he's always in the sea, and his grandfather and his great-grandfather were fishermen, so he's been brought up with that kind of thing of knowing what to do in these situations. So that's a nice news story for this week. I thought that was brilliant when I read it today.
Yeah, I think it's like one of these, in any situation similar to that, maybe not quite as extreme as that, you do have a natural kind of almost like fight or flight response where it's, you don't think about it, you just do it, So we might have a guest in our podcast this week.
Right,
I've got my daughter crawling about looking for something. So congratulations. Come on over here now. Right, congratulations. Stick your head in. You're on YouTube, Katrina.
On YouTube.
She'll not hear you because I've got headphones on. So you're making a guest appearance. What are you looking for? The laptop, right? Okay. Hopefully we'll not need to edit this out. Do you give me permission to put you on YouTube?
Yes.
Okay then, right, great.
Yes.
You'll need to go to another room though, okay? Well, you're now a YouTube star, so there you go. Congratulations.
A YouTube celebrity.
Well, it's about to change, young lady.
Back to school.
Nobody's seen me on YouTube before. I says, well, that's about to change. So
aye, she's gonna go to her school friends and just be like, "Wait till you see this." Skipping all our podcast and just being like, "That's me. Look at me. I'm on YouTube." So that was a nice news story. Like you says, it's like a fight or flight kind of instinct.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we've all been in situations where you just do something without thinking about it, and so that wee boy's an absolute superstar, isn't he?
Aye, been hailed a hero, and I would definitely agree. That's the word to use for him. Now on to our next section, which unfortunately we've not had you in our company for this, and you usually give a good answer for these two questions that we pose to everybody, and we answer them ourselves. So our next section is the famous "What's on my telly" and "What's in my belly." So I'm going to get mine out of the way first, if that's all right, and then
of course, yeah, no problem.
Because it's good to have you back and hear what's actually been on your telly and what's been on your belly. So I'll start off. What's on my telly? So this week I watched an episode of a show that's on weekly, and it's on Channel 5. And it's on a Wednesday night, and it's called Dogs Behaving Very Badly. And it is just brilliant, but also rotten TV. It's like a dog behaviour expert goes to 3 different households in Britain and they're having hell, like going through hell with their pet dogs. Some of them have got like 6 dogs in one house. Some of them have just got one, but it's like a big Great Dane. And this episode this week was a Great Dane who wouldn't take no for an answer, and kind of was almost splitting up a relationship because he wanted all the love from the woman and the husband was kind of getting kicked off the bed, because Great Danes are 7 foot tall when they stand on their hind legs, and this Great Dane was just shoving the husband out of the bed, so it was. um, and then there was a French, no, it was a French bulldog who wouldn't let people leave the house.
Oh,
So
God.
you imagine a French bulldog. What are they? Maybe like that
Aye,
size.
yeah, yeah.
Watching on YouTube, you'll see this. But if you're listening, I've kind of got my hands like, I don't know, a foot and a half apart.
Yeah, yeah.
Foot, really small dogs, and this thing jumps up to like people's necks. That's how high this wee thing can jump,
Jesus.
and goes for them if they're leaving the house. And they've says like it's not like an abandonment issue or anything. It's not anything like being left behind, because it can be just when one of them leaves his house and then there's somebody else still there. It just doesn't want anybody to leave. But this guy goes in and just teaches them some techniques to work with their dog and tell them no in the right way, but praise them at the right times and all that. And it's just rotten telly, but it's just enjoyable on a Wednesday night when you're home from work and you don't want to focus on anything. So I check it out on Channel 5. I think 5 have got like a player as well that you'll probably be able to.
Yeah.
I can't remember what the 5 player's called though. You've got like 4OD
Is it
and
My Five or something like that? I
My
don't
5.
know.
That.
I'm not
Aye,
sure. I'm not sure because I just got a new telly recently, so
right. Aye. But you can get those
and
apps on
it's
like
got all
YouTube.
these apps in it. So
But I would check that out if you like dogs as well, and or if you're having trouble with your dog at home, like viewers and listeners, this might be good for some techniques for your dogs.
it just tickled me when you were talking about this Great Dane curled up in the nice king size bed with the pocket spring mattress, and your man downstairs on the couch.
Aye, that was brilliant. So that's my recommendation for this week for what's on my telly. And the second part of that is what's in my belly, and this one's a really simple one as well. I'm not going to go into cooking or recipes or anything. It's these wee things called Nutella Be Readies, and I've been having them with my lunch and work every week, every day this week. And basically, it's just like a wee biscuit about that size. It's good for a snack if you're hungry, you're on the go and work all the time. And it's filled with Nutella. And you think they're going to be awful dry because they've not got like a chocolate coating on the outside. It's just biscuit with Nutella inside. But once you get into the Nutella, it's lovely. It's moist and it's not too dry or anything. But they're doing them in Tesco. Somebody from the work said they're doing them in Tesco for £1 just now for a 6-pack. And they're just easy to put in your lunchbox or in your bag for when you're feeling a wee bit peckish, but you don't have the time to actually sit down and have a meal. So if I was to give Nutella Be Ready's a rating out of 10, I would give them a good 7.5. That's quite good for a snack, I think.
Yeah.
That's up there for a snack. Aye. So that's me. That's what's on my telly and what's on my belly. Kind of boring this week, but I wanted to make it a wee bit boring as well because we've got Chris returning and
Oh, I feel under pressure in here now.
aye, he's going to give us a blockbuster movie and the best meal he's ever made in his life as well. So Chris,
Oh,
what's on the telly?
on my telly this week, and it just dropped on Amazon, and it's a good bit of. I can recommend this to all our members. It's very age appropriate and stuff like that. And it's a show called Stargirl. It's part of the Warner Brothers DC TV universe stuff, not to be confused with the Arrowverse stuff. So it was like Arrow and all of that stuff. That was on a different network. This is a thing that's started by Warner Brothers. Have originally had the rights to the DC kind of TV stuff. So did a lot of the animated stuff. Animated DC stuff is far superior to Marvel, I would say, unlike what it is with the Marvel Cinematic Universe, completely killing it compared to the DC movies. So the TV picture is probably quite different in some ways, but they're trying to now get kind of live action stuff, get a foothold in that. So they started this stuff with Warner Brothers. it started off with a show called Titans, which was like Robin and a few other kind of forming a team after he's kind of like left Batman to kind of do his own thing.
Right. Okay.
So it started with that show, and then they launched another show called the Doom Patrol, which is another bunch of really fringe characters that you would only, if you're a really comic book geek, would you know any of them. And then they also did another show called Swamp Thing, which was also on Amazon, which is okay. It's not bad, you could watch it. But I've really actually quite enjoyed Stargirl because, yeah, I thought it was a good recommendation because it's a 12 certificate. So it's a whole family can watch it. I watch it with Katrina. She's maybe a wee bit younger than the 12 mark, but I've made a judgment call as a parent to say it's actually okay. And it's, yet again, it's kind of fringe comic book characters that you might not have heard of. There's definitely references to like The Flash, who's quite well known, and Green Lantern, which is quite well known. And the kind of premise is it's this young girl who is taking on the mantle of Starman, and it's this kind of cosmic staff, and it's Owen Wilson's brother that stars in it, Luke Wilson. He's been in quite a few things as well, few films and stuff like that. So he's like the one that kind of ties it all together, you know what I mean? So, and it's just, as I say, it's good action. It's quite simple. It's not too like challenging and all that, but it's good solid comic book entertainment, which is something I quite enjoy, and it's done quite well.
I think it's quite fun when they do bring these characters that you don't know a lot about, because then you've not got a perception of them at all. You've not seen the movies from the 80s, 90s, whatever. Like the Batman, when Batman's coming out, we're comparing them all to the Dark Knight trilogy, I think.
Yeah, absolutely.
When new Spider-Man films are coming out, we're comparing them all to Tobey Maguire movies. Whereas if they're bringing through new characters from comic books that people don't know that much about, then it kind of it's fresh, isn't it? It's a new idea almost in some people's heads. Because I think they're bringing out a new Suicide Squad with a lot of French characters. And people are saying like it's a good thing they're doing that, because then it might get people into comics. More into the graphic novels and all that as well, which might be a good thing in turn for both film and comics. Yeah,
so I mean, as far as I know, the Suicide Squad one is James Gunn that's directing it, who did Guardians of the Galaxy. So he's got a good, because he kind of fell out with Marvel, so he went, well, okay then, I'm off to do a DC film. And he's now back with Marvel again, I believe. But it's just the thing. But yeah, I take that point. It is good to get French characters, because we've seen Superman, we've seen Batman, we've seen Spider-Man ad nauseum. There's not much more they can do with these characters. No. In my opinion, they peaked with Batman, with the Christopher Nolan stuff. I don't think that. I think it's highly unlikely that will be bettered in any shape or form. The thing that I would say is bettered, that was the Joker, which I wouldn't reckon because it's an over 18 in this format, but Joker was an astounding piece of work, but not necessarily anything like a comic book thing. And that's probably what set it apart. But so this is a good show. As I say, I would say 90% of people out there wouldn't have experienced these characters. I kind of knew a wee bit about them, being a bit of a geek myself, but not a lot.
It's funny you mentioned Joker, because I actually watched that this week, and I was thinking to myself, can I recommend that on the milk round? And I was like, probably not. No. Maybe for our older ones, maybe over 16, I would say.
Maybe like, just that stretch.
But that's a stretch. But it is really good for going into perceptions of mental health and things like that. I find
absolutely.
That it was the second time I watched it, and I learned more about the film as well, I feel. But I'm with you. It's a brilliant movie.
It's more akin to that film's more akin to something like Taxi Driver or something like that, Robert De Niro. It's just the kind of display of a man just mental breakdown, and you don't know what the way that it's done. You don't know what is real and what he's making up, and it's left that way, and it's just an astonishing piece of work. But I can't recommend it to our members because it's extremely violent as well. But
so that was what's on your telly, Chris. So Stargirl, you called it,
Stargirl on Amazon. Just recently dropped on Amazon. the last few weeks or so.
And is the whole series out, or are they doing it week by week?
It's a season one, the whole season's of season one. That's all it's made so far, is there and available to binge watch.
Aye, happy days. So what's in your belly this week?
So it's been a few weeks since I've been here. So when our kids went back to school, we kind of considered that as our kind of isolation bubble was a bit kind of like burst. So up to that point, we hadn't really taken advantage of the Eat Out to Help Out scheme. And I know you mentioned it in a few podcasts, the last few weeks' podcasts. You've been out to ZZ's, I believe, and stuff like that. So we have this week, really went, right, we're going to do it. With the kids going to school in nursery and my wife working from home, we're able to actually just go for a bit of lunch somewhere local. Brilliant. So that's what we've done each day, because we actually looked at it and we hadn't been out anywhere for dinner since just before Christmas.
Oh, wow.
So we more than made up for it.
Aye.
So we went out Monday, Tuesday for lunch, and then at night time we went for dinner as well. So I'll talk a wee bit about that. So the first day we went to a place called Halloumi, South Side. They've got a branch in town as well. It's kind of like Greek food, general Greek food. Lots of different kind of stuff on there. One of the highlights, and it's something that I remember eating when I did a backpacking tour around Greece, around the islands of Greece when I was a youngster, is a gyros. I don't know if you've heard of a gyros.
Love them. I love them.
So they do a gyros in halloumi, and it's pretty close to what I remember getting in the islands. Yeah. So a gyros, for anyone that doesn't know what it is like it's like a kebab. It's a Greek style kebab. It's a flatbread. It's got a few chips in it. It's got tzatziki, which is like a yogurt and cucumber kind of blend. And then it's got a kind of marinated pork. I wouldn't say it's spicy in any way or form. It's just more flavoursome than spicy. It's not like when you get a kebab and you think, oh, spicy. It's not. It's more flavoursome, and it's all wrapped up. So that's what a gyros is. And that was the highlight of that expedition there. There was a lot of other standard stuff on it that we tried as well. But for me, I enjoyed that. There was chili and garlic prawns as well, which were very nice as well. But a gyros, I thought I'd highlight the gyros because maybe not a lot of people out there have tried that. You can get a gyros up in the West End. There's a gyros van right next to Kelvin Grove Park up the kind of, what's the name of that road again? I think is it. I can't remember. It's the really tree-lined street. No, it's kind of more up near the art gallery. And you know where the bowling is? They had the bowls with the Commonwealth Games. It's that tree-lined street. Is it Kelvin? It's Kelvin something street. There's a gyros fan there, and they do brilliant gyros if you're out and about in the West End, and it's very reasonable. It's like maybe £3 or £4 for a gyros, and
that's what I was going to ask you, because when you're in Greece, they're so cheap because they're sold everywhere. But what was it like in Halloumi? What was the price for it like?
It was restaurant prices, so you're talking about $7.50 or something for the gyros. And for people that haven't had one, a gyros is actually more like a snack than, I wouldn't say it was a full meal. So with this menu, you would pick maybe 2 or 3 items off the menu, like small plates, that kind of vibe. So a $7.50 might not seem a lot, but it's actually, when you're talking maybe times that by 3, it becomes kind of expensive. So that's probably the beauty of the Eat Out to Help Out thing. You know, you're getting a wee bit off.
Definitely.
On the next day, we went to Church on the Hill, and that was kind of like standard day kind of pub grub. It was very nice. There was nothing wrong with it. It didn't set my world on fire, to be honest, but everything was cooked well, but it was very standard issue, like mac and cheese, burgers, fish and chips, all that kind of stuff on the menu. So there wasn't anything that stood out and went, oh, here, I need to tell them about that. But what I will say is, out of all the places I went this week, they handled the whole safety and hygiene and social distancing by far the best out of all
Right,
the
okay.
places I went to. So if you're
Brilliant.
still feeling a bit nervous about going out for something to eat, try the Church on the Hill, because I think they do it the best I've seen so far.
Excellent.
So, and then the third, last but not least, when we went out to dinner, we went to a place called the Dapper Mongoose.
No,
It's
I've
in
not heard of that.
It's in Shawlands, the Dapper Mongoose. So I would say it's probably quite a kind of pretentious kind of name, and
Right.
the food is reflective of that too. But it's really it's probably not for everyone, this kind of food. So if you're not much of an adventurous kind of person when it comes to food,
That's
avoid
me.
it.
I'll avoid
But
it then.
but this place is pretty damn good in my reckoning. I would say it's a good 7 or 8 out of 10. They serve, yet again, it's back to this kind of small plates thing. So it's real high dining kind of stuff, like bravette of steak with chimichurri and 3 roasted chips and stuff like that. And like, it's kind of high dining. The bit that the highlight of them is they actually do bao buns. Have you had a bao bun before?
No, I've
So
not even heard of it.
a bao bun is like a kind of Asian kind of styled steamed, kind of almost like a steamed kind of dumplingy thing.
Right, okay.
It's Korean, I think. It's actually Korean, and there's usually a savoury topping on it. So
Right.
standard is usually a bit of pork or something like that, a bit of hoisin pork or something like that. But this place did bao buns, but they put their own kind of stamp on it. So, but they were the standout for me. You got 2 king prawns with satay sauce and some pickled veg on it. That was awesome.
Right.
But by far the best one was it was halloumi, back to halloumi again, halloumi cheese, but this time though. And it had a kind of curried lentil and creme fraiche kind of sauce with it. And that just, all of those components worked brilliant together, in my opinion. But yet again, I would say, I kept saying, I said to my wife, I goes, my mum would hate this place. There was nothing on that menu she could have ate, because she's not bad, but she wouldn't eat, she doesn't eat certain things, put it that way, you know what I mean? So, but if you're an adventurous eater and you want to treat somebody, I would highly recommend it for that.
Yeah.
So that's us.
That's it. Aye. So
It's a big
it's
long
been
one.
you've done one of them, but it was a really good one when you came back. So back with a bang kind of style.
Yeah.
So that's what's on our tellies and what's in our bellies. Unfortunately, we don't have any recipes this week because Chris has been eating out and I've been eating snacks and rotten stuff. So, but there is recipes. Well, we can send you recipes of our old what's in our bellies if you need them. So just get us on any social medias. So this week we didn't really know what topic to go into for Chris coming back, and then we decided today, well, we just go for something quite light and chat about something we're both interested in, and we're guessing that a lot of our viewers are interested in because you're on it right now, and it's YouTube. We're going to chat about YouTube because Chris and myself have both been into YouTube for quite a while, and we use it for lots of different things. So we're just going to have a kind of chat about what we use it for and what we like about it and what we don't like about it, maybe. So we were chatting a wee bit before this and saying, like, when did we first get into it? So we'll maybe start with that. When did you first get into YouTube, Chris?
So I was trying to date this myself, and we spoke about this before we started recording. I remember starting to watch YouTube and there wasn't any adverts whatsoever. And then I had to actually look up, when did the adverts start on YouTube? And it wasn't till the end of 2007. And it didn't launch in the UK till 2007 really as well. So I would say it must have been around about that time that I started using YouTube. And it was predominantly, I would say, to find old kind of live performances of bands that I like. That was, and that's still a treasure trove for that. But back then, you were starting to find things like that, really.
Aye, brilliant. I'm just after you probably. I'm probably like 2008. Turned 13 and it was up at high school and me and all my mates were into gaming quite a lot.
Right.
So
Okay. Yeah.
a lot of them got like a screen recorder for their PlayStations or Xboxes, and and actually recorded themselves playing like games like Call of Duty and things like that, and uploaded their best kills or the best shots or best goals in FIFA and things like that. So we used it for that, and then started watching these guys who are building massive channels just all around gaming. And it's a crazy thing to do, but you would sit and watch somebody else play a game that you've got sitting in your PlayStation. Like, you could go and play it and probably get more enjoyment out of playing it because you're trying to beat the game. But seeing these guys and how good they were at the games, and they were also commentating on like playing the games as well. That's kind of what I first started using it for. But it's probably just a year after you were using it, probably about 2008.
And that's probably now not as common on YouTube because it's Twitch is taking over with that, hasn't it? Really?
That's like a live streaming style, isn't it?
Yeah.
You can do that on YouTube, but I don't think there's like, I think Twitch, they earn more money for live streaming.
Yeah, I think that's possible.
And give them money, like just for them to say one thing. You can pay somebody to say something for you on their stream. So like, you were saying you watch like live performances and music and things like that. So I thought we could talk about what we watched back then, and then what we've kind of watched through the years, and what we're watching now, like who our favourite YouTubers are or whatever. So so after after finding live performances and music, what else did you get into on YouTube?
So I suppose then it kind of it's YouTube is also a really good knowledge base for things. So I've used it for a lot of DIY tutorials because like my dad died quite a long time ago when I was about maybe 27 or something like that. So what happened was I kind of stepped into the role of janitor for my mum. I would put a janitor's jacket on as soon as, because it was like, oh, this is broke. Can you have a look at that? Can you have a look at this?
Black hat as well, Chris.
And a bucket of sand as well. So I realised that the bucket of sand wasn't very good at fixing things, though. So.
You were probably wanting about whistling as well, because Johnny's always managed to do that, didn't he? Whistle a perfect tune.
I couldn't actually whistle up until that point. As soon as I put that Johnny's jacket on, off I went. So DIY tutorials. So I mean, I've swapped out a sink, like a bathroom sink, using YouTube. Okay. I've fitted, you know, like when you're in a flat and you've got the kind of intercom phone, like the buzzer thing, you know, like the phone end of it in the flat. I've replaced one of them in my mum's. I've also changed out a complete flushing mechanism in a toilet using YouTube.
So you're a plumber and an electrician, all because of YouTube?
Absolutely. Well, an intercoms engineer, no. No, but that I'm just giving it as an example of, and all this stuff's still on there. So if you've got like a relatively simple issue like that, usually it's the limiting factors having the right tools to do it firstly. But if it's one of those situations, then that was actually easier than I expected it being. Don't get me wrong, there was a lot of swearing and effing and blinding while I was doing certain things, but I got there and I done it. So YouTube has always been a great knowledge base for things like that, I think. And that's from maybe the start of the early days of YouTube, because a lot of the stuff that's up there looks really old now, you know what I mean, compared to what the kind of picture quality. So I've used it for that.
I think for me it was so when I first started watching gaming, and I was at I think I was the perfect age for when YouTube kind of came out, like teenager, like early teenager,
perfect,
and grew up with the development of YouTube as well. So it was being used for so many different things whilst I was growing up. And YouTube's, I don't think it's aimed at a certain demographic, but majority of the stuff on YouTube was aimed at teenagers as I was growing up as a teenager. So like when I turned maybe 14, 15, I was using it for a lot of like gaming, but also watching sports videos, music videos. Like that's where artists would put their music videos up on the Vivo kind of sites that they had. And then started watching, like, because I thought I was getting smarter, maybe watching some commentary on the news and things like that, and guys talking about what had happened in that week. And then I realised I'm a boy and I'm not getting smarter. I'm always going to be immature. So even when I was like 18, I was watching guys just do daft stuff like the old Jackass stuff on YouTube, and it's
Fail
like I've
Army.
had Fail Army is brilliant. Just sit and watch that for like an hour for a whole video, just laughing at people. It's like you've been framed, but you can rewind and pause and watch people 10 times. But I was going through some of my subscriptions as well earlier, just to see what, like, try and refresh stuff. And so right now I'm as I've said on the podcast, I'm right into golf right now. So I've subscribed to a lot of golf channels now, so that I can help myself. And it's kind of like the DIY stuff.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
It's watching a tutorial basically, and it's free. Instead of going to a tutor and paying a certain amount of money for an hour of his time, you can watch these guys on YouTube doing it, and they're getting paid for it for the advertisers, but we're watching it for free. We're not having to pay anything. Obviously, I've subscribed to Castlemilk Youth Complex.
Of course.
And like podcasts like we're doing just now, I listen to a lot of podcasts on YouTube. H3H3 podcast, I've got that. A guy called PewDiePie, I don't know if you've heard of him, but he's obviously massive on YouTube. I subscribed to him when I was younger, and I've still got him as a subscription, and he still pops up, and I'll every so often watch his videos, just because I think he done the same. As like, he got on YouTube as maybe a 20-year-old or 18-year-old, and he developed with YouTube as YouTube developed. But it's like you says, it's you can use it for so many things, and I was using it for tutorials so I'm using it for tutorials for golf now. But like we spoke on the music episode about playing instruments and asking somebody how do I play this. YouTube's brilliant for that as well. Music.
It's amazing. I remember when I started learning guitar. So I was like about 14 when I started picking up a guitar, and so that was way back in 1994. So there was absolutely nothing like that at the time. So I paid to get a few guitar lessons, and I only got maybe 4 or 5 guitar lessons, but it was enough to scratch the surface, so that it gave me enough of the tools to then just learn myself. And I mean, it's a standard old man thing to say, but the young people don't know how good they've got it. But like, I'm not meaning it like that. I mean, YouTube guitar tutorials, I use myself, because every musician is still learning to a certain degree. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
They are invaluable. Like I'm in like a covers band now, just to keep my hand in it, and we just do a few gigs a year. Not this year, obviously, but other years are available. But just to have that function of being able to see somebody play guitar in front of you, and have the tab, because tab is like really, it's like a tablature is a simplified version of music notation for anyone that doesn't know that. But see, trying to visualize that into action is quite a difficult thing. But actually to have the tab running along the screen and having somebody play it at the same time, it's like revolutionary. You can, in YouTube, you can slow that video down to like a quarter speed if you need to say what's he doing there and stuff like that. It's just I feel that, you know, if you've got enough passion to learn anything, there's an excellent knowledge base there waiting for you to learn most things. And it's like, as you're saying with the kind of golf thing, do you know what I mean? It's like working on techniques and stuff. There's probably lots of things you've never even thought about until you've watched a video like that, you know?
It was quite funny. We always joke about like, oh, other such and such are available. But I was thinking, like, when you says that, video upload sites, there aren't much other video upload sites like YouTube. I think a couple of companies have tried it. I think Dailymotion was maybe a competitor at the start of YouTube.
The one I can think of off the top of my head is Vimeo. Started about the same time as YouTube, roughly. Started actually before YouTube, I believe. But
none of them have become as successful, I don't think.
Nowhere near as successful.
So like YouTube is the standout, and it's what everyone goes to watch videos that you can literally type up anything and you'll see it on there. Aye, so that's what we kind of watch, and I just wanted to ask you as well. Do you have a favorite YouTube channel of all time, or like YouTuber?
A couple of things. So probably as you know, you're talking about you kind of your tastes grow and change. So I've
Aye,
made no secret of the fact that I love professional wrestling. But
aye,
if I were to watch all the kind of main wrestling shows of the week, that would
mm-hmm.
be conservatively 7 or 8 hours of solid
Right, okay.
viewing a week.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I watch a UK-based channel called Wrestle Culture, and there's also a Wrestle Talk that are both very good. And they'll break down a show in 15 minutes of what happened and stuff like that. They also do audio-only podcasts as well, to the same kind of thing. So it's great for that, to keep up with something that I enjoy. And then I
Mm-hmm.
can go back and watch something if they're saying, you really need to go and watch this match. It's amazing.
Aye, yeah,
So it's great for that, because it means I don't need to spend 7, 8 hours a week. And I don't have that time. I
no,
really do not have that time in my
no,
life to spend on wrestling anymore. Um, Another guy that I really enjoy music, and it's maybe not so much, he does do tutorials, but he's got different playlists. So he's a music professor in
okay,
a university in America. His name's Rick Beato, and he does this really cool series. I think this is the most accessible out of them all. So even if you're not much of a musician and you're just a really avid listener of music, he's got this series called What Makes This Song Great. And what
right,
he does is I think he's on number 80 or 90 of these he picks a song each time, and he's in his recording studio. He's got a full setup. He's got all the best of gear, basically. Like you're
mm-hmm.
that classic Glasgow, the best of gear, mate, the best
Aye.
of gear, you know.
And it
As somebody brings
usually
something out of a
probably,
suitcase, a dodgy Armani t-shirt, the best
it's
of gear.
usually probably best idea, but no idea.
But no, this guy really does have the best of gear, and what he does is he's got like this, what we call the stems of the songs. So what they
Okay.
are is he's able to then mute everything and isolate just the drums or just the guitar or just the singing, and he gives his opinion and his learned opinion on the explanation of what makes these songs so good. And
Mhm.
it's amazing to hear some really songs that I know inside out when he starts pulling them apart. Going, I didn't know that was in there, but
Aye.
now that he's pointed that out to me, I can totally hear. And that
Yeah.
there's some very subtle elements in songs that do make them great. You know what I mean? And it's so.
Do you like that he does that then? Do you like that
Oh,
you can almost re-listen to one of your favourite songs again?
absolutely! It's amazing.
Aye.
It's amazing to rediscover and just appreciate something that you already really
Aye.
enjoy. And his enthusiasm is quite infectious. With,
Right.
he's sitting there going, oh, you know what I mean, and all this sort of stuff.
Aye.
And he covers his taste in music is probably similar to a bit of a section of my taste in music. He's quite a kind of rock guy, so he covers a lot like Foo Fighters, Nirvana, Weezer, a lot of the kind of classic rock as well, like Led Zeppelin and stuff like that.
Well,
So
definitely give him a watch. That
he's
sounds
great,
good.
and he does another thing where it's like the best guitar intros of all time and stuff like that.
Right.
But he's actually playing the guitar intros, or
No,
because he's a multi-instrumentalist, so he plays piano, guitar. He sometimes dabbles in drums as well, and stuff like that. So
right.
he's if you're in any way, shape, or form a musician, or you've just a really avid consumer of music, I highly recommend that channel.
Aye, definitely. That sounds good. Definitely watch that. My favourites are like I used to watch a guy, and you probably know him because I think he was the biggest YouTuber at one point, Ray William Johnson. Um,
Oh, I've not heard of him
no,
actually.
he used to do a show called Equals Three, and he used to do this Equals Three, and it was
Mm-hmm.
his thing, and he would bring up like three stories that happened during the week and just rip into it. I think he was like one
Mm-hmm.
of the first commentary YouTubers that were around.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but he done it with a lot of comedy, and so I don't really know what he's doing now. I think he's doing Facebook Shorts, which just are never good, especially with his acting level. He's not a great actor, but that show was brilliant back in the day. I love a guy called 10 Second Songs. I don't know if you've heard of him.
No.
He was really original when he first came out. It was brilliant. He would do like so I've looked him up just now actually. So Bohemian Rhapsody performed in 42 styles. So he
Okay,
would
yeah, I
start,
think I've seen something like that before.
then go into like Johnny Cash, then do it Daft Punk, and then and do the whole song in like all different genres. And he would do rap and heavy metal and screamo and all that. He's brilliant. So I really like him. But yeah, just now I'm just loving a guy called iDubbbz TV, who was really edgy when I was like 17, 18, and I thought, oh, he's really cool because he's written into everybody and all that, but he's moved away from that. And like I was saying, I've developed and YouTube's developed at the same time. And I think this YouTuber's developed as well now, and he's doing documentaries on, he's doing like hour-long documentaries on YouTube now on other YouTubers. So he's gone and interviewing them, interviewing their pals, kind of getting into their heads and seeing why did they do the videos in the past, why they're doing this now, and it's quite cool to watch if you've been a fan of YouTube for that long and you know who these guys are that he's interviewing. So I'd recommend watching iDubbbz TV. Maybe not the older stuff because it's weird. They was doing stuff with a guy called Max Mofo in Australia, and they were just getting drunk and doing daft stuff. But his new stuff's definitely stuff to watch, like documentaries and that. If you like that style of thing. So that's our favourites. You guys should comment down below or get us on our social medias. Anybody that you want to recommend to us to watch on YouTube. I know that a lot of you will probably have YouTube channels yourself and want to recommend the youth staff to watch your guys' videos or your content. There's a lot of people making it big from our community as well. My boy David Brown, who went to Castlemilk High School, he's doing a lot of stuff now in the community. With video and like different organisations and things like that, but he's got his own YouTube channel and he speaks a lot about football and all that on there. But if you guys have any other recommendations, then drop it down in the comments below. So just to end the YouTube thing, I think, should we say like what we think is good and bad about YouTube? Like what's the pros and cons of YouTube? I know we've spoke a lot about the pros, obviously, being big fans and what is actually out there, but maybe just to touch on what is actually bad about the website as well.
So I think, like, I don't watch a lot of this stuff, but my wife does, and like my daughter watches a hell of a lot of YouTube as well. So I'll kind of touch on that. So I think it's probably easier to critique some of that because obviously what I watch is completely flawless. No, I'm not saying that, but it's an easy kind of thing to pick up on. So my wife watched a lot of kind of lifestyle vlogs and stuff like that, and I think, just like we touched upon this in the social media episode that we did, of presenting this idealized social media person, and I think that is a very prominent thing in YouTube, you know, of how maybe somebody's decorated their house, for example, or the type of makeup they buy, or the type of clothes they're wearing, what I'm wearing today, and would they call them clothing hauls or shopping hauls? So that there's an element that it kind of breeds a bit of like undue consumerism, maybe in some ways. Maybe puts undue pressure on people to aspire to achieving that. In some ways, maybe there's an element of that. And I can bring myself into it. I mean, I watch a lot of kind of music equipment demo, like demonstrations, and like a kind of YouTube channel. It's a music store, but their content is really actually quite entertaining and it's very good. Have I equipment on the back of that? Well, I actually have. So it's working, you know. So, and I would say I would transfer that to other people as well. Now, I bring my daughter as an example. Now, what she watches a lot of is people playing the game Roblox. I don't know if you've heard of Roblox. Yep. It's kind of like a platform for multi games, so users can design their own games. It's aimed at 7 years old plus. There's a lot of safety features that it makes you quite comfortable, kind of thing. But there's a lot of these YouTubers out there who are, you know, young adults, let's say, who are playing Roblox and are quite obviously able. There's like a kind of approval system where you can buy in-game credit in this, but if you put their code in, they get some of that profit. Also, I think they just get, I think there's maybe a kind of a deal on between them and Roblox for featuring Roblox in their YouTube channel because they've got huge amounts of subscribers. So to me, that puts a lot of pressure on my daughter to conform to that. And I have to say, it ain't cheap. It ain't cheap buying in-game credit. So, and it's like to get a hat for a wee avatar, you know, or some clothing. You know, you're talking like 100 Robux. Now, 100 Robux translates to roughly £1.
Right. Okay.
For a t-shirt.
Aye.
That's expensive, you know.
Aye.
And so I've done this thing with her now where I've subscribed to Roblox. So I've done a monthly subscription thing. So she knows that she will get her Robux on this day once a month. And it's kind of like pocket money for her, if you know what I mean. Yeah. And that's fine. But these YouTubers are out demoing and their Robux balances are like, you know, they're just buying things willing, ding, 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 ding. And that, to me, it doesn't sit well with me, put it that way. It's putting undue pressure on her to put pressure on her parents. There's been documented cases of kids stealing their parents' bank cards and whacking it on the bank card, and all of a sudden, parents are looking at their bank statements going, what's this? You know? So
I definitely agree about that. The stuff where it's like a money making scheme for a lot of people, and like rightly so. If people were growing up at the time when YouTube was, you were able to get a career out of YouTube, which a lot of people have, and fair play to them for doing it the right way.
Still do.
Yeah. But people are doing it the wrong way and taking their viewers for granted and taking young people and children for granted and just being like, here's Amazon deals that you can get, here's and they're putting up like codes, like you were saying, to use for certain websites, and they're getting so much commission off of that. And they're definitely just putting a pressure on people to be as good as them as well.
I'll give you another example here, Lee, just on this thing. So there's a YouTuber that my daughter watches called Leah Ash, and predominantly her content is Roblox content, her playing Roblox. So I was just kind of in the room when I was watching it with Katrina the other day, and she decided to try and play Roblox outside in her car on her Tesla. She's got this fancy Tesla with the touch screen and all that, and she was willy-nilly. And I was trying to explain to Katrina, I was saying, you do know, because Leah Ash has got millions and millions of subscribers and millions of views on the videos, that she's really rich, so she's able to afford to do this on Roblox, because this is effectively funding her to be able to go out and just buy a Tesla and stuff like that. So I'm not called, and Leah Ash has now launched this kind of like merchandise store, so it's like school bags and stuff like that. And of course, Katrina wants a Leah Ash school bag now. So we've kind of done a deal with her that if she gets an excellent school report in the next few months, then that might be something we can look at. But I mean, the school pack is expensive. You know, a school bag with stationery kit, how much are you thinking they're asking for that?
So
a school bag, stationery kit, and maybe I think a water bottle or something like that.
Like a primary kid, so that you're looking at spending about £15-20 on a school bag and that. And
her pack is like over $100 for that. I mean, the school bag alone is $50, so I don't know what that translates into pounds.
So not sure. Maybe about £40 or something, is that?
And don't get me wrong, if she jumped through that hoop and got excellent school report, then I will get her that, because she has deserved to get something like that, you know what I mean? But it's a hell of a lot of money. So there are people out there, there are YouTubers out there that are really, really cashing in. There are other YouTubers that are still making a good money off just purely their views, but maybe not quite as capitalist about it, let's say, you know.
Aye, that's a good word, aye. But that's like you were saying, there are some that are just getting money off their views, and they've had the same content since they started YouTube, and that's maybe another con that I'm going to bring up is demonetization of a lot of these creators' videos. Now, this happened about 2 years ago where people were putting up videos constantly, putting in an effort, and these guys are working long hours, sitting at computer screens, editing their videos. Maybe they've got like 3 people editing, so they're paying them wages as well because they become a company when they're a YouTube creator. But they're spending a long time either vlogging or playing their games or doing whatever they're doing to get their content. And that's their work. That's how they work. That is their career. So their wage is the advertising money that comes in from the views and things like that and likes. And because YouTube didn't like their videos, or they weren't high up enough in the algorithm, or because they'd sworn twice or used bad language twice in a video, they weren't getting money for that video because YouTube decided to bring out these new rules that wasn't on. But these guys have been making the same content for 13 years. It's been around in the UK. If you're saying it started in 2007, and I just think that's a shame for these guys who have built a career around that, and then YouTube could maybe just fall apart soon as well. And they will have inroads and other things like media and social media. Twitch is coming up and things like that, but YouTube is their life, and it could just fall apart like that, and no get them any money anymore.
Well, for example, one of the channels I watch, the wrestling ones I mentioned, they have actually said they can't mention COVID because they've got software that detects and recognises that word, and the video gets demonetized straight away. Probably, and I think there's a good rationale behind that because there's a lot of these kind of conspiracy videos that get put on YouTube and stuff like that. So they call it something else, you know, to avoid getting demonetized. So that's just one example. The music guy that I spoke about, sometimes record labels, they employ people to watch YouTubers to see if they're featuring any of their artist content. And they will put an actual block in the video, not just demonetize it, but they will block that content. If it's like, say it's a top 10 guitar intros of all time, and one of those 10 artists record label pipes in, then that's it, they're done. And I think it's kind of short-sighted in that example, because if anything, this guy's going to be driving you to that product, because you go, oh, that's a great song, I'm going to listen to that now, you know what I mean, the full actual song of that, you know.
Aye, it's wild. So that's YouTube.
Maybe not huge. we need part 2 for YouTube.
I think so. We said that for social media as well, and for mental health. We'll maybe do part 2 as a certain episodes that we've got. So if you guys want to see part 2 of YouTube, and we can talk about more things and go even more in depth of what this website offers, then just let us know on social media or in the comments below. But the time has come now, Chris, for you to flex your muscles basically and show your strength in these quizzes. As I said at the start, it's not an easy quiz this week, and I feel a wee bit bad, to be honest. I always run my quiz past Brooke, my girlfriend, and she does all right. So she does quite well. She's never been into YouTube, Brooke. She uses it every so often. It was just never her thing growing up. And I think she got 1 out of the 6 questions I've written.
Oh dear.
You're a YouTube man, so I think you should maybe get more than 1. I think.
Hopefully, we'll aim for better than 1, hopefully.
Better than 1, aye. That sounds good. Are you ready to, no defend your title, but kind of show off your title?
Yeah, I've not got it with me. It's still away at the cleaners.
Oh, I getting polished and things like that.
Getting polished for my next actual real title defence.
Aye. Right, okay. So if you want to come and have a go at Chris, let us know as well. We'll get that on. So here we go, Chris. 6 questions for a YouTube quiz. Are you ready?
I am ready.
Question 1. Which YouTuber went up against Indian channel T-Series in a subscriber fight? So if you want me to explain that question anymore, just let me know.
So I think the channel you mentioned is like number 1 in the world.
Yes.
So I'm going to go with one that's in that kind of top 10, as I think it might be an American type thing or something like that.
Right.
Is it PewDiePie?
That is PewDiePie. Well done. That's you got to one right away. 1 out of 1. He's a Swedish YouTuber, and he got massive by doing horror games and a game called Happy Wheels, and everybody loved his content, and he ended up being like this celebrity, but he's really a pure like introvert. So I think PewDiePie isn't like Felix. So he's kind of like got two different personalities. But then a couple of years ago, he did say something that he shouldn't have said on Twitch. But we'll pass by that right now. Used a word that was maybe derogatory and shouldn't have been used online or used at all in the world. So question 2, on what famous day of the year was YouTube formed?
Is it Valentine's Day?
It is Valentine's Day, Chris. Well done. 2 out of 2. How did you know that one? Because people would maybe say Christmas or Easter or something.
When I was, I'm going to admit, right, I'm going to put my hands up and say that when I was looking at, when I was talking about adverts earlier on, I was trying to date when I was, when did that actually start, watching you? Because I remember distinctly watching YouTube without adverts. I did look up the YouTube Wikipedia, and that was one of the things, so I just remembered it from then.
Aye, you've remembered that you've no researched it like Miss Chapman.
I'm not sitting here with like well, there's research. There's research, and then not remembering your research and reading it again. That's that. So I researched and I remembered something, so I learned it.
Yeah, learned. That's the word we'll use. But at least you didn't cheat. So 2 out of 2. Number 3, is the first ever upload on YouTube filmed at a zoo, a theme park, or a university?
It's a zoo.
It is a zoo. The creator put up a video of him at the zoo, and I think it's just called At the Zoo, the video. Not 100%. See, for a bonus point, I do have the name of the zoo. Do you have the name of the zoo for a bonus point?
Was it New York Zoo or something like that?
No, it was San Diego Zoo.
Okay.
Aye. But I still 3 out of 3. Well done. Number 4. In 2014, which famous YouTube/meme animal known for his expression earned more money than Gwyneth Paltrow? So because this animal's videos on YouTube was making so much money, the animal's income was higher than Gwyneth Paltrow's in 2014.
2014? Oh, God.
Yeah. The animal's got like a certain name, and I put the word expression in there.
Sorry, what did you say? Sorry?
The animal's got like, it's not the pet's name, but it was called this because of its expression, like I said in the question. So maybe that will help you out. You'll know it as soon as I say it as well.
It's not something like the Crazy Frog or something like that.
It's not that, no.
It's not that, because that's 2014's far too late on for something like that.
Yeah.
But it's kind of something like that, though, I think.
Right.
Is it something animated, or is it just...
No, animated, no, it's a real animal, so it is.
Is it something like the Sarcastic Cat or something like that?
Oh, almost. I'll give you half a point because it's a Grumpy Cat, and it was just like this all the time.
Well, I did no bad there. I think I earned that half. I earned the half.
3.5. So question 5: what term is used when an uploader clickbaits a viewer into watching a video of Rick Astley's Never Gonna Give You Up? So there's a term for doing that to someone. What is it?
Oh, I don't know this one at all.
That's also another con of YouTube clickbaiting. But we can speak about that in episode 2.
No, I don't know. I'm just going to pass on that one.
Yes, is it?
Making an Astley of it.
Oh, Rick's something similar to that. That's quite good. It's called getting rickrolled.
Rickrolled, right? Okay, I wouldn't have got it. I genuinely didn't know that. I wouldn't have pulled that.
So 3.5, still decent. Going into question 6, the last one. Which American YouTuber boxed KSI twice, drawing the first and losing the second?
I don't understand that question at all.
So KSI is a YouTuber as well.
Mm-hmm.
So which American YouTuber boxed KSI twice, He drew the first and lost the second.
All right, I see. Like actual boxing, like
Yep.
fighting. Okay, boxing. Is it like somebody like Jake Paul or something like that?
I'm going to give you another half point, so you go up to 4 points out of 6. It's
Okay.
his big brother, Logan Paul.
That is I can't believe I even got close, to be honest. I knew it would be something. He's a bit like, he
Out
doesn't
there.
make the best judgment calls in life sometimes, like that lad. So I think that would be some sort of stunt he would do. But thanks for the half.
He fought KSI's younger brother, so he did in a boxing match.
All right, okay.
So, aye, you done well there. I think 4 out of 6 is brilliant. So you deserve to keep that belt for another week.
I would say I got a couple of points just based on my looking up stuff earlier on in the day, but I genuinely just did it because I wanted to know when I first started watching YouTube, really,
Yeah.
But
yeah.
I got the benefit of sucking in a bit of knowledge at the same time. So
Aye, definitely. So that's our podcast for the week. That's episode 14 done with. I can't believe we've been doing this for 14 weeks, Chris. It's been long, but it's been good having you guys watching us. And remember, and like our videos, subscribe to our channel, and ring the bell for notifications. Remember, guys, we're trying to get this video to 230. 230. Let's go with 230 now. 230 views this week. So if you can share it as wide and far as possible, we'll put it on our social medias again, which are going to be read out right now by Chris.
It's Kelly Youth Complex Staff on Facebook and Youth Complex CYC on Twitter. Instagram is youth_complex. TikTok is Kelly Youth Complex, and you can drop us an email at cycyouthteam@gmail.com. Also, check out some of our older episodes, audio only, on themilkround.podbean.com.
That's us for this week. See you guys next week. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.
Bye.